Now, this one is going to be a bit of an unconventional video. I haven't got long left with this car. I've had it for probably about 5 days now, and yeah, it's it's a Fiat 500, and it's Series 4, as you can probably tell from the footage. It's a manual. Yeah, it's okay, I suppose. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's surprisingly quite nippy, considering the power it's got. Yeah, if anything, I've put more fuel in this than I've used, so I'm giving it back to the body shop with more fuel than I've actually used. So that's not really the best thing ever, but yeah, so it's been good. It's not been too bad. Now, in terms of how it drives compared to my Bath, it's very different in pretty much every way you can think of. The steering's light and kind of fluffy. You're not really sure where. It's very vague. It's not particularly brilliant. You can basically turn the wheel like this, and you're only shaking the car ever so slightly. It's basically like having a massive oversteer on everything. Like, the car doesn't really feel like it wants to turn. The suspension's very light, bouncy. You don't really feel the road as much as you would in the Abarth, but obviously with the Coney shocks you're going to feel that. So I suppose if you're after more of a comfortable ride, I suppose you could maybe say this is more comfortable than the Abarth, depending on the situation. But I mean, I like the bumpiness and the fact that it's more raw than the Abarth. This just feels a bit like, you know, boring, I suppose. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, even though I make it sound like a bad thing, because I don't personally enjoy it. It's not fun. It doesn't grab you by the throat and want to fling you around the road. But not everybody's looking for that. If you're looking for just a daily driver that's comfortable, nippy, great in the city, stop start, it's economical, it's not too expensive, it gets you from A to B, it does what it does, and it does what it does pretty well, I would say. It's just difficult to compare it to an Abarth, even though, yes, inherently they're the same car by chassis, and there's a lot of similarities between the two cars. Steering position, seating position, the sort of the computer screen is similar. All the aircon vents are in the same position. Obviously, in my car, I have a digital aircon, so it's slightly different. But the ones that don't have a digital aircon are only manual. It's exactly the same. Gear stick position, handbrake position, doors. The doors are practically identical. Mirrors, windscreen wipers. You get what I mean. The roof's exactly the same. The little light's exactly the same. So there's a lot of the inherent parts of the chassis in the car that are identical. Similar, but different, I would say, between the Abarth 595 and the Fiat 500. From what I've experienced, funnily enough, the indicator at first seemed a bit better in this. Didn't seem to want to play up as much, the indicator. But now, it just seems just as bad, to be honest. The way you want to indicate in one direction and you turn the wheel ever so slightly in the other direction, and the indicator is just gonna do whatever it wants. And I think the main reason for that being less noticeable in this car is because the wheel is just more all over the place. Other differences I've noticed, obviously you don't have the parking sensors in this, you don't have the bi-xenon lights, but you do get other features like start-stop, which you don't have in the Abarth. This is more city focused. You have a city button which is going to lighten the wheel even more than it is already, which I don't really know why you would want to do that, because yeah, you don't want to make the steering any lighter than it is. I mean, yes, you get used to light steering, but I don't necessarily think it's a good thing. It just doesn't feel very precise. You're just turning into a corner, sort of not really knowing if the car's really going to turn. Especially when you're sort of trying to push it. It's nippy in first, second, kind of just dies off in third, and you've got nothing in fourth or fifth. There's basically no power there whatsoever because there's no turbo, so you've just got nothing at that range. But yeah, it's good on fuel. I've noticed that, and that's one thing I do sometimes think to myself, that I wish my Abarth was slightly better on fuel, because it costs me a fortune sometimes. But that might be just because of the way I drive it and the way you want to drive it when you have an Abarth. It's just, you can't help yourself. It's too fun to make a noise, and I can't wait to get the Abarth back later. It's not that I don't like this car, but it's just I wouldn't buy it personally. It's not got that flair, not got that excitement to it, but it's not supposed to have that flair or excitement to it, not in the same way. It has a subtleness to it. It has I suppose it's quite smart in its own little way, if you like the sort of white interiors. I mean, one thing I've noticed with the white interior, yes, maybe it's kind of nice if it's sort of more of a girl-centric car. This is very girly. I feel a little bit weird driving it, but the steering wheel in this colour has displayed a lot of wear. Like, it's supposed to be white, but at the bottom it's kind of brown, so that's not great. As for the display, it's not digital, it's completely analog, other than the little bit you get in the middle, which is just I don't even know what you would call it. It's just sort of like a digital orange display. It's one thing, pet peeve of mine, when everything in the display, all the little buttons and everything is just orange. It just annoys me. I don't like the colour. I prefer it in my Abarth where the screen is white and red. It's just nicer to look at. I don't find the orange very nice to look at. I don't like cars that have that as an interior colour for night driving. It doesn't make me happy inside. Even my Corsa had red and white lights inside. It's just nicer to look at. It's more appeasing on the eyes, if that's even a thing. Do I have anything else to say about this car? I think I've been driving it I've done about 400 miles in it now over the last week or so. I've noticed it's quite good for motorway driving. You still don't have any cruise control, and obviously I suppose another big point I can push on is the seats. Yes, they're spongier and a bit more comfortable, I suppose you could say. Like, they're easier on you, but honestly, the say belts and the bucket seats in my Abarth, I miss them. I miss those seats. They're just so nice the way they hug you in this car, when you're just flinging around a corner and not with this light steering wheel and just car that just feels like it's a bubble on the road, really. And these seats just do not hug you whatsoever. You're flying all over the place, really. Obviously no exhaust noise whatsoever, so that's as to be expected on a car like this. However, I do know that the Fiat 500, I think it's S, does make somewhat of a noise. The noise of the engine quite amuses me sometimes, because it sounds to me sometimes like it's like a muscle car. I don't know why I get that sensation. But yeah, all in all, I would say it's a good car for the price that it is, and it'll get you from A to B. I suppose it's almost like, it's not really a comparison to the Abarth in terms of what performance you're going to get, but the cars are very similar, so that's why I'm almost sort of bringing it up a lot. Same size as my Abarth, and I've got used to that size, and I quite like that size. It's quite handy. You just feel more nippy, and even though this car is not very powerful, it's still fairly fast and quick. I don't want to ramble on all day long. I tried to be as unbiased as I could be, because obviously I don't want to just have a rant about this. It's not bad in all ways, it's just not what I'm looking for, and I wouldn't want to personally have one, but I can understand the appeal. This is more of a daily driver, sort of a normal kind of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's like when I had my Corsa before. I'm going to leave you with that note. Not exactly a comprehensive review, but I've only had this car for 4 or so days, and they're the conclusions I came to. Good on fuel economy, a nippy little car. I think it's not too bad to drive. It's a little bit soft, a little bit vague with the steering input. I like the stop-start feature, great on fuel economy. That's the biggest yes, I think, to this car, the fuel economy and the easy drivability of it. Yes, it's a bit vague and it's not got a massive amount of power, but not everybody's looking for that. yeah, a good starter car, I would say. Small, nippy, easy to park, easy to drive, to be honest with you. It's not difficult to drive. You've still got a fairly high seating position, like the Abarth, which makes it even easier. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that sort of commentary almost, I suppose, whilst I just drive around for a bit. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.